I just finished watching all the footage that was released by the creators that got a chance to play the new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero demo, and I made a list of all the unique things that I noticed while they were playing this game. But full disclaimer, none of the footage that you guys are going to see on the screen today is my own. All the rights go to the respective owners, which include the GOATs like Globku, C-Rags, Dadodoya, Nanogenics, and Afro Senju. So shout out to all of them for even giving us an opportunity to see what the gameplay looks like, and I suggest all of you to watch their videos as they go more in depth about what's going on the screen. But anyways, going back to the demo, the number one question that everyone probably is going to ask before they even watch it is, does it play like the old Tenkaichi series?
Yes, it maybe feels a little less raw, a little less manual.
This game very similar in its basic offensive standpoint, as in the original buttons are all good.
It's genuinely Tenkaichi, and that is so exciting to me.
So as you guys can see, most of them did confirm that it does play like the old Tenkaichi series, but with a little bit of adjustments, and which is what I'm gonna go into right now. So we'll start off with the controls. So you pretty much get two different options. You can go ahead and play the classic controls from the old games, or you can go ahead and choose the standard mode, which pretty much changes the button layout to more of like a modern game today. You know, instead of your guard button being the circle button, it'll go ahead and be your R2 button. And to take it a step even further, they went ahead and took a page out of the Storm Connections book and added a whole bunch of assists to the gameplay mechanics. So pretty much if you don't want to learn the game, you can go ahead and have this one button that does everything for you, just like how they had in Storm Connections. So you just would pretty much smash B or something like that. But that's just a service more for like the casual fan base, you know, who just wants to pick up this game and be involved. I already know that players like you and I, we're gonna be owing in and breaking our controllers just to learn how to do all these combos and stuff, but we'll talk about that in the future. So as far as the game modes go, they actually announced two different things today that was pretty much mentioned by the creators in these videos as well. Now, number one thing that everybody's looking forward to is the what if story mode. They're pretty much calling this episode battles, which focuses on 8 characters of the whole Dragon Ball series, 2 of them confirming to be Goku and Vegeta, obviously. And is that a spider, bro? Y'all see this right here? There's literally a spider just hanging from my roof and trying to get into this video. Hold on.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What?
Hi, y'all. Sorry about that. We had a little spider emergency, and I don't want any of y'all to think I'm dirty or something. I'm literally in a basement, and it's summer, so it's kind of like unavoidable. But anyways, getting back to the episode battles. Pretty much it focuses on 8 characters, and 2 of them obviously being Goku and Vegeta. The other ones are unknown, but this is where your what-if scenarios happen. And with Goku, they pretty much confirmed that the story starts off in the Dragon Ball Z franchise and ends in the Dragon Ball Super, so that's pretty freaking long, and I'm super excited to see what can happen and like how much they included throughout that whole timeline, because it's just such a long timeline. And they took it even further by adding these new features where you can experience the story cutscenes in like the first point of view perspective, or from a different character, I think it was something like that. But just that whole aspect seems so cool. Like they showed Goku holding down Raditz, and you see Piccolo about to use his special beam cannon. Like that was just such a cool touch. So yeah, pretty much it seems like we're getting an in-depth story mode, and you're gonna be able to like encounter a whole bunch of what if decisions. But it gets even crazier because they introduced another mode that's called custom battles, and here's where you get like the neat and gritty stuff of the what ifs, because pretty much they made it where you can literally edit the scenarios from beginning to end. And what I mean by that is even the intro cutscenes, you can have specific dialogue and specific characters that show up made to go with whatever what if story it is that you want to make. So it's like a whole customizable thing, and this just adds to like the whole Dragon Ball verse that they're trying to make. It seems like, you know, just imagine like Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 against, I don't know, Raditz, right? Like it doesn't make sense. That would obviously never happen, but that's just the possibility of what you can do with this. And as mentioned in the showcase, you know, that's really what they were going for. They want this to feel immersive for every single person that plays this game. They want you to feel like you're that Dragon Ball character, you know, you're in that moment, and they're making it super possible with like a whole bunch of features outside of that I'm gonna get into obviously later on. But yeah, I just thought that that whole aspect was really cool. And then finally, the one thing that everybody been asking for, that we all wanted and was disappointed to hear that it wasn't going to be in the game. Well, split screen is confirmed for local play. The only downside is that you're stuck in the hyperbolic time chamber stage in order to access it. The reason for that, as I explained before, was because they were going for a really big single player aspect for this whole entire game. You know, they wanted you to just make sure that you feel everything that you can, and so things like the environment changes and stuff like that cannot keep up with the whole local play aspect. You know, it's just too much and it would just probably be too buggy, and they just literally added it into the game is pretty much what I'm saying. You know, after they saw the feedback that everyone was upset that it wasn't going to be in the game, they just said, you know what, we're going to do what we can and add it into the game. So this is the best that they came up with, and honestly, I'm grateful for it. You know, as long as we can play it, it doesn't even matter. But they do mention that there may be certain bugs while you're accessing it. For example, 2 people that are playing cannot access their characters at the same time. It has to be one at a time and stuff like that, but doesn't matter. Split screen's confirmed. That's all we care about. Now, getting more into the actual gameplay, as you guys can see on the screen, this is what the stage selection and character selection screen looks like. Obviously this is a demo, so take it with a grain of salt. This is not the final product, but this is somewhat a lines of what it's gonna look like, I guess, in the future, or it could completely change. It doesn't matter. As you guys see, you know, it's not like what the menus were before, where you would pick on a specific character and then you would see all the transformations after that. No, you have a slot for literally every single character and their transformations next to it. So yeah, this could have been done a long time ago. This could have been done just for the demo. So like I said, take it with a grain of salt. This is probably not what we're gonna see when the game fully releases, but it still looks pretty clean. And as soon as you pick your characters, you go straight into the game. There's like no load screens, no buffering, and you see these intro scenes, which is one of the most unique things that I noticed while seeing everybody's video, because every single dialogue that I've seen with specific characters is just so insane how deep they went into it. Like, who would have thought that Android would be saying something like this?
All right, well, it's Android 17 time again.
Let your brother-in-law handle this.
So yeah, seeing Android 17 saying something like that was just like, so it caught me so off guard, but it just made me smile, because it's like, damn, they really are putting a lot of work into this game. And you know, just looking back at all the things that we saw when it was first announced till now, you notice all the significant changes. You notice that they really are listening to their community, you know, by adding the split screen and stuff. So it just goes to show that there's probably going to be even more things by the time that the game releases that we haven't even seen right now, and it's just going to freaking blow us all out of the freaking waters, and we're just going to be like shocked. Now, taking a look at the actual gameplay footage, we can already see that there's like so much going on, but I'm going to start off with the dynamic camera angle, and I can see why a lot of people were upset about this. I mean, it's been a thing ever since the gameplay reveal happened. You know, a lot of people just didn't really like it and disliked the fact that it was just like so much different angles and camera movement happening. You know, certain people can get sick just by seeing things like this, so it's understandable. But me personally, I have no issues with it. I think it's just a unique and very good looking thing that adds to this game. But you know, as someone, well, I wouldn't say me, but for someone who played the Tenkaichi series religiously and then they go into something like this, I can see how it can, you know, affect your performance and pretty much your overall aspect of like how the gameplay is going to play out for you. You know, with all the movements and the special effects going on, it could like really throw you off your game if you're not focused. Well, it just makes it hard to focus in general. But that's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is all these specific bugs that were happening to these creators while they were playing it. You know, there was like AI players or just them themselves getting stuck while they were doing like rush attacks, or the camera angle throwing you under the map and you're seeing literally nothing. You know, things like that. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they're going to fix it where it happens less and less towards the final release of the game. but it's still a possibility that there will be certain bugs that are just gonna not be detected until later on during the release when we're all playing it. And yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. You know, the camera angles could cause certain things in the future that may upset certain people, but I think it's freaking awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing that and a whole different perspective of playing these Tenkaichi games. And adding on to like what we said at the beginning of the video, you know, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you know, it does play like Tenkaichi, but there was a but. And that but is the speedment. The speedment. What am I saying, bro? Like, there's just so much that I can't even talk English anymore. The speed of like the movement and the combat that's going on in this game is not the same. It's a little bit slower, but I think that it does take an effect when you're using, like, for example, speed characters. Like, you can actually see the difference of how fast they are moving and throwing things, which is more on par of like what these Tenkaichi series games before were like. So I guess that's a bit of a minus for some of you, especially if you're a hardcore fan of the series. But I mean, I think it's just all about just getting used to the game once you play it. That's how every game works at the end of the day. And I think once you start playing it, you'll realize that it's, you know, pretty much the same, just a little bit more of like on the modern day of the games and stuff, you know, especially with like all these introductions to how the key is used, and you know, you can only do certain things. It's not like unlimited combo breakers and stuff like it was in the past. It's just a part of the game nowadays, and I don't think it should be something that should be seen as a negative. I think it should be something seen as like a positive, because it just tells you that, hey, you know, this game is going to be as balanced as it could be when it releases. And if players like C-Rax and Dododoyo are hopping into it, still having fun, and you know, I mean, at least I know them as the people who are YouTube creators that play Tenkaichi the most with their whole 3 Idiots series that they do, right? If they were able to have fun and not find it as such a like jarring thing about how they experience the game, then I think most of you, especially the hardcore fans, will probably be along the same lines. So I guess that's just a little bit of a disclaimer. And moving on to like the blocking of the supers, you know, this is another big thing that when people saw the gameplay reveal, they were like, you can block supers? Well, no, you can't block supers, because Afro, for example, he got hit with a final death beam cannon, I think that's what it's called, right? By Frieza, and he tried blocking it, but he couldn't. So it seems like you have to do a specific thing, and it has to be a specific super attack that was used. Obviously, you can never block an ultimate attack, or else you're just gonna get washed. So the only way really is to dodge it just how it usually is, or clash with it, which we'll get into a little bit, because the clashes are also another different aspect to this game. It's not like how it was before. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the destructible environment that is happening. I mean, it's so crazy how much things they added, like they said, to make this feel like Dragon Ball. I mean, you see the destructions of the stages happening all over the place. You see the clothing ripping off all of these characters that they're using as soon as they get hit with a super attack. And when they're going Super Saiyan, like, you see all the grass and the trees that are near them just blowing by, like they're moving, like, oh, it's just so crazy to see. Like, they've really taken this to the next level. If I'm being honest, like, I'm not even trying to glaze Dragon Ball, right? This might be the first game that I play, especially for the next gen console, that deserves to be named next gen console game, like, because they're taking it to the full extent and adding all these things that you would not be able to do in last gen consoles, and I love seeing that. I love to see that. So yeah, the destruction stages, they go crazy, and there's certain cutscenes that happen if you do your ultimate attack. So for example, if you do your ultimate attack in the world tournament stage, this cutscene happens where the announcer's like telling everybody to clear away from the stands, because they're gonna get blown away and hit with the attack. And then it turns, after all of that happens, pretty much the stage gets wider. So like the arena stage that you're playing in now becomes like, oh, you can go outside of the actual world tournament stage, and you can fly around and fight like that and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that was a pretty cool aspect. The only thing is that, at least right now, it doesn't seem like there's any ring outs for the world tournament stage itself. but it's just a demo at the end of the day, guys. And then for the planet dynamic stage, if you use your ultimate attack, as soon as you use it, the planet dynamic gets destroyed, and then you have all the lava and stuff around. It's just so cool. Like, I can't wait to see all the other different environmental stage destructions that can happen, and the stage changes and stuff. It's just so crazy how in depth they keep going with this game, man. But moving on to the clash attacks. So the clash battles in this, it seems like every single time that you get into a clash battle, you pretty much are going to have a different like button layout or different just instruction that you have to do. And this happened to Doya, for example. He had 3 different ones in his time experiencing this game. One of them was mashing like a button, another one was like turning the analog stick, and it was just so cool to see. But at the same time, I guess it's kind of hard to like follow up with. I kind of have to look deeper into this and see more of like what other creators ran into if they got into these clash battles and what played out for them. But yeah, that's one thing, you know, it's different, and I'm still not sure if it's like timing based, because I haven't heard anyone talk about that yet. Maybe when they release more videos and talk about their in-depth experience of like how they went by it, you know, I'm not sure if it's like, oh, whoever does it the fastest wins, or whoever gets the timing right wins. So yeah, I think it might be that though, because I think Bandai might not want us breaking controllers, but at the end of the day, they probably don't even care. So yeah, keep that in mind. And a few other things too. The androids cannot charge ki in this game. Dotto tried doing that, nothing would work for him, and he's mentioned something about the ape as well.
2 old BT things I can confirm: androids cannot charge energy, and great apes and giant characters cannot be hit by all rush attacks.
But for the ki blasts that you use and the blast attacks in general, there's a specific little change that happened, and Dotto was actually the one who pointed this out. Pretty much you don't track them with your character that you're using. So when you use an attack, let's just say that the player's to your right, instead of your character changing their focus and while they're charging in order to send it to them, right, your character stays in place and he just sends it out, and the attack itself, the ki blast, the charge attack that comes out, it curves to them, so it tracks to wherever that player is. Not sure if that raises the probability of them dodging to, you know, a higher chance, but I guess I can see both sides to, like, you know, why this may be a good thing and a bad thing, you know, because the good thing about this is that you have a higher chance of dodging, because if you guys notice, every time that one of these attacks land, you lose a shit ton of health, it seems. And I don't know if they're gonna change that for the final game. I don't know if that was like, you know, something that was just happening in the demo, but you lose a shit ton of freaking bar life, and that's gonna be a problem, because that means that the life expectancy of like how these battles play out are going to be short-lived, and you know, we don't want that. We want it to be a little bit harder. We don't want to just, you know, because there's always going to be that one person who just cheeses a whole bunch of ultimate attacks. You get hit with 2 or 3 of those and that's it, game over. That will ruin the whole game experience, and obviously that's going to have to be changed. So yeah, that's the good thing and the bad thing about the tracking of the ki blast and the blast attacks. So hopefully there's like something in the middle along those lines and they change it. But for the last thing that I want to mention is the fusions of the game. You know, a very big transformation that we all want to see. And I don't think I mentioned this, but in order for you to transform in this, you pretty much use your dial pad on the controller, and then you'll see like all the transformations that are available there. I think it was Nanogenics who went into depth of how the HUD works. So if you guys want to know how that works, go watch his video. He mentions it somewhere in the beginning. But fusions, right? The way that it works is you don't have to have every character at the same level in order to transform. So Doya did this at the end of his video, where pretty much as he was doing his fusion, he had like Vegeta in God form and Goku was in base form, but he was still able to activate the fusion to go ahead and do the Gogeta form. So yeah, that's pretty pretty interesting. You know, I guess it really doesn't matter what level you are or whatever, as long as you have the transformation available. You can fuse and it'll do the basic fusion formation, and once you're in the fusion state, it works just like every other character. You can press the dial pad and you'll transform into Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, whatever the transformations available for those specific characters. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything that I noticed in their gameplay that I found unique and exclusive that we haven't seen in any of the trailers. And full disclaimer, if you guys watched to the end of the video here, you probably noticed, but like, I don't really know that much about the whole Tenkaichi series. You know, I only know certain things, but really this was just a game that I played when I was younger with my cousins and had fun. I tried getting back into it like almost a year ago now, just so I can prepare for the Sparking Zero game, but yeah, I got distracted with other things. But I will this time around try and do that. So if you guys want to see that, make sure to smash the subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know down in the comments if there was anything that you noticed that I may have missed. But really, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, I say this right now, will wipe out pretty much the whole anime market. Every freaking player that's playing any other anime game is gonna like come to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and that's just because of like how good this game looks. This is how every single anime game should be produced, and I hope that they do that more in the future. Enough of the yapping, take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.